One of the things that has always been extremely, I don't know, I could say disappointing, or one of the things that's always surprised me is the evolution of pieces of the animal that people used to throw away, disregard, or call trash. For example, oxtail.
They say never, but I will never become a vegan again because of this dish right here. Jamaican Oxtail Stew. Let's make it. In the carafe of your blender, add diced onions, diced green peppers, bunch of cloves of garlic, some sliced ginger, sliced celery, and a fresh Scotch bonnet pepper. Now, add a nice few glugs of olive oil, talking a cup or two. Give that a blend. Let's not forget the fresh thyme, essential. Pour that into a bowl, your green seasoning is ready. The aroma coming off of this already guarantees you that whatever you cook will be delectable. Now let's make a nice fresh coleslaw to go with our oxtail stew. In a bowl, add mayo, Greek yogurt, sour cream, and Dijon mustard. Here I'm gonna use some fresh lime zest. And let's sweeten things up with a nice touch of local honey straight out of the comb. Yeah. Give that a mix. Season it up with some dry brine. Matte dry brine is mostly kosher salt and all of the flavors in it. If you have salt, hey, use a little bit of that, but trust me. Some protein in there from the yogurt. Now, let's add a bunch of veg. With this coleslaw, cabbage as your base, but use whatever vegetables that you have in the fridge, throw it in there. For this, our trusty food processor with the shredder attachment. Add cabbage. I'm gonna use two types here, green and purple. Now, slice some heirloom carrots, any carrot, throw them in there. Punch of vitamin C from some red bell pepper, and let's throw some red onion in. Right into your bowl. And let's punch things up as always with some fresh herbs. Chop some fresh parsley. Use whatever you have, whatever you like. And the best tools to have in the kitchen, clean hands. Give everything a mix, get right in there. Discard any big pieces. Now, give a taste. Yep. And now for the rice and peas. In a pot, some chicken stock, coconut milk, some sliced ginger, and bruise a scallion, cut it, throw that in there. Nice touch of grass-fed butter, as always, and some of those allspice berries. Couple dried Scotch bonnets, if you have them, fresh, ideally. Couple fresh garlic cloves. Now, put in our red peas. We had these soaking overnight. Bring your pot up to a boil. Now, to your pot, lid off. Rice rinsed and soaked 2 or 3 times. Add your rice. Put that on. Give it a little wiggle. Now for the star of the show, our oxtail. This is a whole oxtail, all the way down to the little pieces. An oxtail is exactly that. An oxtail. You can see the center of the tailbone. The reason why oxtail is so flavorful, because all of the connective tissue that you can see right here, it's fat, connective tissue, right? That's going to break down over time. It's the only way that's achieved. We're gonna season it. Now, here's a little tip. If you can't find oxtail, or you don't like the price point that it is now, one of the little known secrets is using the beef shin. This is from the shin bone, cross cut. You can see that you have nice marrow right here and the same fat and connective tissue. Beautiful thing about beef shin, when it's cooked, it tastes exactly like oxtail with a bigger yield, right? So we're gonna throw some beef shins in with it just because we have them. Season each piece generously with your dry brine. And of course, your Gwan. Get into every nook and cranny, every crevice. Be generous here. Dust each piece with flour and pat off any extra. It's gonna help with our browning and our caramelization, that Maillard process. Because we wanna punch up that traditional West Indian Jamaican flavor, let's throw in a little bit of allspice berry. Now, let's take this over to our stove. Nice neutral oil. Here I'm using avocado oil. Pan on medium to high heat. And let's brown each piece. Slide each piece into your pan. Leave room between each. We're going for that Maillard reaction here, that caramelization for flavor, texture, and depth. So, don't crowd your pan. This is a good time to get that nice cold beverage. Pour yourself that cocktail, that glass of wine, and enjoy the sharing process. Using your tongs or a fork, be careful, but manipulate each piece in your pan so that all of the surface of the oxtails and beef shins comes in contact with that pan and that oil. We want to build that caramelization. We want to build that texture on every little bit of that animal protein that we possibly can, for maximum flavor and texture. You'll be so thankful you did. Flip, turn. Taking these additional steps, taking your time and enjoying this process, browning each piece on all sides will make all of the difference in the finished product. You may not know it when you don't do it or if you don't practice this, but once you do, anyone who eats this will be that much more thankful. So, enjoy this. Now, remove each piece and set it aside. I use a sheet pan and a wire rack, and I wipe out anything unsightly in the pan. Give it a wipe out. Start with fresh oil if you have to. Into your pan, green seasoning, right in. Healthy pinch of brown sugar. Give that a stir. Give each side a scrape, making sure things are in the pan, not burning on the sides. And let's go in with a few drops of tomato paste. Develop some more flavors. Give that a mix. And deglaze with some dry red wine. Remember, always use a nice red wine that you would drink. And as you can see, as the alcohol evaporates, it's leaving the flavors of that red wine. Now, to that, add a nice scoop of jerk sauce and some chicken stock. A few glugs of that Worcestershire sauce and give it a taste. See where you are. Adjust your seasoning. Add each piece of animal protein back to your pan. We want to coat each piece in this sauce. Give it a turn. Coat each piece. And now, let's remove it from the oven and take it over and give it a nice bath in our sous vide. Make a bag. This can be done in a Dutch oven, on the stovetop, a heavy bottom pot in your oven. Next, cinnamon stick. Right in. But tasty. A little bit of sweetness, some balance, right? Aside from the brown sugar, we scale back on that a little bit. Let's add some Lakanto right into our bag. Take the time as well, put some superfoods in there, right? Let's do a little fermented cacao right into our bag. Give that a vacuum pack. Now let's drop this into our sous vide bath at 175 degrees. I'm gonna leave this on for about 8 to 10 hours. Now, out of our sous vide bag. Careful, super hot. Put that into a bowl. Open our bag up, pour your contents out, and just smell that aroma. I mean, look how tender it gets. The meat has literally fell off the bone. Pour the contents of your bag into your pot. Back onto your stove. Put the lid on, give it a shake. Medium to low heat, let that simmer. Let those flavors marry. So, it's dinner time, y'all. Take a look at this. Yeah, delicious. Jamaican Oxtail Stew. Now, let's bring this over to the table. We're gonna serve this family style. So on a nice platter, lay each piece of oxtail and beef shin down. Be careful not to break things apart too much. Leave each piece intact. You want people to be able to get down to the bone. Oxtail is a finger food of sorts. You could try to eat it with a fork as much as you want to, but there's nothing like getting to that thing. Yeah. Alright, cool. This oxtail has broken down over time. That beef shin, delicious tender pieces of animal protein with all of the flavors in it. Now let's drizzle all of that sauce right over each piece of oxtail and beef shin. Nice sliced scallion right on top. Let's hit it with some fresh parsley, of course. Touch of Gwan. and some G salt. The G in G salt stands for gray salt. This is floor to sell. So we undersalt just so we could use that floor to sell and get that briny, crunchy pop of that French gray salt at the end of each meal. So worth it. Now let's not forget about our coleslaw. Those colors, flavors are popping out. The dining experience is visual as well as flavorful. So let's top our coleslaw with some lemon zest. Brighten things up. Nice citrus flavors in there. Fresh herbs, of course, and G salt. Let's not forget about our rice and peas. We owe it to ourselves to have a nice glass of vino with this dinner. Remember, sit down, share, break bread. Find your balance, find your happy place. Thank you for joining us. Hope you enjoyed this oxtail stew. Bless up.